is a Furnish Brothers production.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Talkin' Buds podcast.
It is the Talkin' Buds podcast.
It's the Talkin' Buds podcast, folks.
Talkin' Buds podcast. Season 2, Talkin' Buds podcast. Let's go.
All he's got to do is get in the weight room, and oh, baby, he'll be a good pro in no time.
Good pro.
Stinks. Absolutely stinks.
Stanley Cup? How about let's just win a round?
What a dummy. You just know that Babs was looking to see if there was any gas left in the tank of that good pro. This
is the Talking Buds podcast. And now, here's your host, Rob and Ryan.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. Ryan, is this thing on? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. We got the mic situation figured out this week, buddy.
Yeah, we do not want another debacle like we had last week, because that's exactly what it was. It was a debacle.
Nah, I heard some people reached out to me and said it really wasn't that big of a deal. So,
yeah, you know what though, Ryan? You spend a lot of money on a nice microphone, and then it doesn't work properly. It's not. It pisses you off. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. We got it all straightened out though. We're ready to go.
Yeah, we did. We're ready to go. Ryan, tonight, a real game. We just finished watching a real Leaf game, and it was a 5-2-3 win over the Ottawa Senators. I have so many takes, so many observations, but let's get in to the announcement right before the game started. Ryan, I know that you were dying to know.
Oh.
You were so in to what the announcement was going to be. They set up, they did the player introductions, they introduced the Maple Leafs roster. I'm going to be honest, that part was a little flat. Crowd was a little dead. Not like the Leafs really need to work on their opening ceremony game, because the team that they share a building with has the opening ceremony game down to an absolute science.
Has the crowd energy down to an absolute science.
Yeah, so they could probably take some cues from their NBA cohorts who share the building, but nevertheless, it picked up and got much more exciting because they introduced assistant captain Mitchell Marner. They introduced assistant captain Auston Matthews. They introduced assistant captain Morgan Riley, or alternate captain, assistant captain, alternate captain, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I don't care.
And then the 25th captain in Maple Leafs history, John Tavares. Ryan, I like I said, I thought the beginning part was kind of lame, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I had the goosebumps going up the arms when Tavares came out with the C on his jersey.
Yep.
Fantastic. And listen, say what you want about how you wanted Riley or Matthews was in the discussion, but it's hard to find a more deserving guy than John Tavares.
Yep, no complaints for me, buddy. No complaints whatsoever. If you have a checklist of what you want in a captain, I'm pretty sure Johnny T can pretty much tick all those boxes off. So whether you wanted Riley or Matthews, you can't sit there and be like, oh, I can't believe they gave it to John. Because Johnny is a consummate professional.
I want to go on a bit of a rant about that, Ryan. You know, I try on this podcast to be pretty straight and narrow. I try to see all sides of every situation and try to validate people's opinions. I've seen a lot of people in the last week or so since it's been leaked that Tavares was going to get it with if you're going to sit here and criticize John Tavares about his personality or whatever, get out of here with that take. You know what you are with that take? You're a spoiled brat. If you had told me 4 years ago that John Tavares would be the next captain of the Maple Leafs after Dion Phaneuf, I would have jumped for joy. I would have been so stoked. So if you're someone who's on Twitter making fun of the guy and complaining about how they chose him, get out of here with that take. I have absolutely no time for it. It's brutal, brutal take.
Yeah, like come on. Like the guy, yeah, he's a little boring, but to me, that's exactly what they wanted and why they were so stoked to probably give it to him. It's like, this is a guy who it's just, there's never going to be any drama with this guy. He's going to show up every day and you know exactly what you're going to get from him. So to me, that's a perfect reason. He's been a captain before. He's probably one of the most respected guys in the league. He's one of your best players. He's a good dude, good leader, works hard. Who cares? Like, just, I'm so happy it's over with. Let's just move on. I'm happy he's the captain. The A thing with Riley and, I mean, with the Matthews and Marner's kind of like a little rep hockey to me, but
that's a little ego stroking, Ryan. It's a little
rep hockey alternating the A's. It's like, what is this? What are we doing here?
Yeah,
like,
we don't.
What is this? That is rep hockey stuff, bud. Like, I don't get that.
It's
but
ego
whatever.
stroking, Ryan.
Whatever.
All right, enough of that. Let's get into the game. We had a real hockey game that counted tonight. The Ottawa Senators were at Scotiabank Arena. Ryan, the game starts and 25 seconds in, Brady Tkachuk scores, and it's 1-0 Senators. Yeah, I know. And you're reminded right away. Like, my first thought was, you know what? Like, say what you want about the Sens, they get up to play the Leafs.
Oh, of course. Why wouldn't they?
So they looked pretty slow and sluggish to start the game. Lots of turnovers in the defensive zone, struggling to get the puck out. They go 0 for 3 on the power play before the 10-minute mark of the first period.
Yeah, which to me, like, if that's halfway through the season, I'm a little more frustrated. But it's the first game of the year. It's not like they had no chances on those power plays.
Yeah, I got a bunch of notes here about they did have plenty of chances. Craig Anderson made a few good saves on those. It wasn't like last year where it's like they get set up and nobody gets a shot off or the other team clears out of the zone. Like, so yes, they went 0 for 3, but I thought the power play looked decent given that it was 0 for 3.
Yeah.
So, interesting note here. Rasmus Sandin's first NHL shift does not come until 8:47 left in the first period due to all the special teams.
Which is fine.
Yeah. So the poor kid sits on the bench, just like, the nerves are just pulsing, the adrenaline's just pulsing through the guy. He's got to wait. And then he finally gets out there, and he made a couple good plays tonight where I noticed him, but you've said this all along that when a young defenseman plays and you don't notice him, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's even just defensemen in general. Like, unless you're like a Morgan Riley type and you're going to be on the ice 30 minutes a night. But if you're a bottom pair guy or even on the second pair and you're not an offensive dynamo, if you're not noticed, man, you notice Jake Gardiner a lot. And if I don't notice Sandin, that's a good thing.
So, first period ends. Sends up 1-0. Shots are 14-12 Leafs. You can hear a pin drop in Scotiabank Arena, right? And I'm sitting there going like, oh my God, like, here we go again. Like, not a very good defensive period. The Sens outplaying them. Like, let's regroup here. And I wasn't panicking, but I was kind of sitting there going,
you can't force yourself to get upset first period of the first game of this season. Like,
Ryan, I'm a Leaf fan. I can force myself to do anything.
No, I couldn't fall into that trap this time. It's like, I'm not going to start calling guys names and start talking about how brutal some guys are playing. It's the first period. They got to get their stuff together. Like, it was not a big deal to me. It was let's move on to the next two and see what happens.
During the first intermission, the Leafs put out like a little 5-minute behind the scenes thing of them revealing to Tavares that he was going to be the captain. I highly recommend, if you haven't watched it, to go and watch it. It's fantastic. Johnny's wife's there and his new son, who was born a few weeks ago, and they make the baby a little jersey that has the C on it, and it's goddamn adorable. I highly recommend, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Get you right in the feels. So, second period starts. Willie Nylander has a breakaway, a clean zone entry Ryan, the clean zone entries with Willie Nylander tonight. I saw that everywhere on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
He has a breakaway to start the second, stoned by Craig Anderson, who to that point was having a really good game. And then, Ryan, minutes later, I don't know what part of this sequence I liked more. So the puck is in front of the Senators' net. Nikita Zaitsev is terrified that he's going to knock it into his own net. So he's soft, standing there looking at it. And who goes hard to the net and bangs in the first goal of the season, Ryan? Freddie the GOAT.
Yes, sir. And man, before you get into the GOAT, just seeing Zaitsev in another uniform, that was arguably the best part of the game.
I know, it's glorious. It's glorious.
See you later, dude.
I contemplated, I'm not going to lie, the thought of making him my bum of the week crossed through my mind, just for old time's sake.
Oh, man, I was so happy to see him in another uniform. It was actually one of my favorite parts of the entire night.
What was Babcock doing on the bench when Freddie the GOAT put that goal in?
Oh, buddy. What? He was looking up at Spezza in the box going, told you.
Oh, yeah. We'll
told you, bud.
That later. We'll get into that later. So 2 minutes later, same type sequence. Trevor Moore goes hard to the net, bangs in another goal to make it 2-1 Leafs. Back-to-back grinder goals from the third and fourth lines. Rasmus Sandin gets an assist on the goal. And that, to me, is one of my biggest positives of the game tonight, Ryan. The top two lines had chances early but couldn't score. So what happens? The third and fourth lines go out and get the first two goals to sort of lift everybody up. Yep. I love that. I love it.
I'm calling it right now. Trevor Moore, he's going to be that bottom six Toronto Maple Leaf perennial darling this year. Just everyone's going to be on the Trevor Moore train. 12
seconds later, Scott Sabourin shows Auston Matthews exactly who he is and scores to make it 2-2. There's been a lot made of that in the last couple of days about how that was disrespectful of Matthews.
Come on.
And it's like can we not
settle down?
We just live in a day and age now where you can't do anything or you're going to get carved.
That's like the most easy, non-crossing the line hockey chirp of all time. Like, just a grinder trying to get in a star's face. Like, that's an easy one to go to. Settle down.
Minutes later, Ron Hainsey comes flying over the blue line, blasts one past Freddie Anderson.
The nicest shot I've ever seen Ron Hainsey take.
Yeah.
Whoa. Looked like Yzerman.
I know. 3-2 Sens.
Yeah, it looked like Joe Sakic coming across the blue line. Holy.
But someone upstairs for the Leafs is doing their job and got in the IFB to Babs and said, you got to challenge that because Bobby Ryan was offside. Yep. And sure enough, he was offside. Goal is not counted, so we're still tied at 2-2.
Yeah, great decision.
And Ryan, apropos, 34 seconds later, William Nylander with the cleanest of zone entries. Beautiful feed, cross crease to Auston Matthews, who bangs in his first of the night. Auston Matthews has now scored in all 4 season openers. And Ryan, if he stays healthy, this guy is going to take this league by storm this year. He's gonna get 50.
My number one thing for Auston Matthews is screw the 50, screw the 80 points, the 90 points, stay healthy all year. That's my number one goal for this guy. And that was a hell of a pass by William Nylander.
Leafs go to their fourth power play at 5:20 of the second period. Mitch Marner with the most beautiful no-look pass I've ever seen.
Yep, Mitchie Marner, special.
Over to number 34. And what does he do, Ryan? How does he score the goal?
With a one-timer. But it was kind of a weird one-timer. Like, it wasn't really like an OV one-timer. It was like he was kind of, his body was positioned in like the perfect place for him to get that shot up top shelf over Anderson. And it happened so quickly that Anderson couldn't react to it. Still got to work on that one-timer, though. It's still pretty brutal. But that was timed absolutely perfectly. His body was in the perfect position for that shot to go over Anderson's shoulder. So it was really nice to see, though. It made me really happy and put a big smile on my face because I thought I was on that train way before anyone else was. So I'm so happy that they decided to finally listen and get them in a one-time position on the power play.
Shortly after that, an Auston Matthews chant takes over Scotiabank Arena, who is
Loved
way
that,
more
man.
lively.
Loved that, man.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I want to hear. That is the kind of stuff I want to hear out of that building. That got me fired up.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Matthews
the kind of stuff I want to hear.
Matthews had a few more scoring chances. Like I said, he was on fire, man. Like, if he stays healthy, he's going to have an unbelievable season. So the third period wasn't as eventful as the second. The Leafs get another power play to start the third. Again, a few more good chances. They don't end up scoring on it. So a few minutes later, the Leafs go on the PK, and Babcock is throwing out all kinds of combinations, like Marner and Nick Shore and Ilya Mikheyev, Trevor Moore and Kasperi Kapanen. Like, he's rolling different combos out there.
Yep.
And minutes later, Ilya Mikheyev, on a beautiful feed from Tyson Barrie, scores to make it 5-2. And two things. One, you can tell right away that Babcock was extremely involved in the recruiting of Ilya Mikheyev because he's already showing trust in the player. They pointed that out during one of the intermissions tonight. And Ryan, I love me some Tyson Barrie.
Yeah, dude, he's high risk, high reward type of guy, but you could just see the difference in skill level with him compared to the elite offensive skill of Jake Gardiner. And I'm dumping all over Jake Gardiner this episode because it was just so refreshing to see some new guys back there, man. That was my favorite part of the whole game. Just looking back at that blue line and seeing some new guys. And Tyson Barrie, man, what a doughty maneuver. Spinorama, found the open man. He's got hands. He's got speed. He's going to mess up the odd time. That's fine, though. I enjoy watching him play hockey. And he's got a great number, too. I love the number.
Yeah, oh yeah. Any number.
Sergei Berezin.
Oh, yeah. Any number in the 90s. You can't go wrong with a 90.
No. I thoroughly enjoy the number.
And later on, Bobby Ryan scores with 2:15 left to make it 5-3, and that's how the game would end. The Leafs defeating the Senators to take the first game of the season, outshooting them 42-26. So let's get into this, Ryan. I want your positive takeaway, and I want your I don't want to use the word negative. I want your like something to watch, something that needs to be worked on after this game.
Yeah, I think my biggest positive is just, I don't know, like it's hard for me to pick out a strategy that they were using tonight that I was like, hey, I think this is going to work all season. My biggest positive was just me as a fan viewing the game, just seeing, I love the turnover, man. And they're not, all these contracts just kicked in, and soon it's gonna be a nightmare trying to get guys to fit under the salary cap. But this is the year, we've talked about it before, where they're stacked up. They're allowed to have guys like Barrie on the team this year and fit guys like that. And I'm just so refreshed seeing even Cody Ceci back there, man. Like, just a different number, a bigger body, a different looking body, a guy who makes different plays. It was just so, even the bottom six, man, like the bottom six was totally different. Like, I sometimes I was looking at their number being like, I don't even know who that is yet.
Yeah, I had that a couple times tonight too, with like Timashov and
and like Kerfoot.
Yeah.
And I just, man, like I thought all of them skated really well. They were a little sleepy in their own end sometimes, but I don't want to get too hyped up on them yet because after all, they did play the Ottawa Senators. And I know the NHL, it's parity and any team can beat any team on any night. But I want to see what they do against the Bruins, the Lightning, so on and so forth. But I just really enjoyed the fresh faces, and I think it's going to interject a energy into this hockey team this year that they've kind of needed. And moving on from the Connor Browns, the Ron Hainsey's, the Zaitsevs. So that was my biggest takeaway from the game tonight that I enjoyed the most, for sure.
Yeah, I would say for me, it was the offensive firepower. Like I just said, they finished the night with over 40 shots. They have the talent and the ability to be one of the most dangerous offenses in the league. And there's no, like you said with the turnover, like there's no, like you're watching Connor Brown tonight just float around the ice for the Ottawa Senators. And it's like Trevor Moore just brings an element of like grit and toughness that Connor Brown just didn't have.
And he's even more skilled than Connor Brown was.
Yeah.
Like, it's just nice to see some new guys who have some fresh energy and
So seeing
you're excited
offense,
about.
Seeing the offense get to their capability tonight where they just like, dude, the second period, they were just dominating the Senators.
Yeah, that was nice to see. And it was nice to see them not get hemmed in too much. Like, there were some shifts where it was a little like, but there wasn't really a point tonight where I thought for an extended period of time that they were hemmed in their own zone.
No, but that brings me to my thing that I think they need to work on going forward, and that is just the play in the defensive zone. There are a lot of turnovers in their own zone, Ryan. Like, I agree, like they weren't really getting hemmed in, but there's a few instances tonight where they're watching and they're being a little careless with the puck and they're turning it over because this is a super skilled team. And instead of sometimes just making the play and dumping it out of the zone, they're always going to look for the pass. They're always going to look to slow down and get control of the puck and look to make a play, which is great. But sometimes, especially when you get in there against the Bruins and the Lightning and like some of these other skilled teams, the Capitals, like, you're going to have to take better care of the puck. And I'm sure if I know Babs, like he's all over taking care of the puck. So I'm sure that'll get addressed with the team. But to me, that's my one thing that I think they need to just keep an eye on going forward.
Yeah, it kind of leads into my thing is, yeah, they're an offensive juggernaut, but let's not get too score happy in some of these hockey games. Like, when you have your chance to score, they're going to have plenty of chances to score, man. They're that good. They're that skilled. But let's not get a little too point happy. And when it's time to play big boy hockey in your own end, leading to what you said, it's time, like, they got to step up. So even though they're skilled as hell, they got to make sure they don't get too stretch passy again, because that's when they start giving up 40 a night against Freddie Anderson.
What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for downloading this week's episode of the show. If you like the show and want to support us, give us a follow on Instagram at Talkin' Buds Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes or wherever else you get your podcasts. Spread the word. Tell your friends. We really appreciate all your support. Thank you.
Now, let's get back to the Toronto Maple Leaf Podcast for all the buds. This is the Talking Buds Podcast.
Ryan, a main talking point leading into the game tonight was that Mike Babcock put Jason Spezza in the press box. This upset a lot of people, especially given the fact that tonight's game was against the Ottawa Senators. I gotta be honest with you, bud. I have no idea what to make of this relationship between Babcock and Spezza. Like, we've talked about it before. You would have thought he was all in on bringing a veteran guy like Spezza. It does not appear to be the case.
No.
So, like, what's going on? What do you think is going on?
knowing Babs and his tendencies, there's just something he saw in training camp or in the gym that he's just not stoked about it at all. Or maybe he just loves Freddie the GOAT so much that
I think that's part of it.
Yeah, like maybe he just loves another guy way more, and he thinks that he can bring something that Spezza. Like Spezza has been around the league a long time. He's gonna play the way he plays, and maybe Babs isn't just stoked about that. I'm right in the middle of this decision. When I first heard it, I was a little like, what? What are you doing, man? Like, give the veteran the nod tonight and let him play his way out of the lineup. But as I'm watching the game tonight, it's like, I'm not going to sit here and get upset about Jason Spezza not being in the lineup, making $700K a year. Yeah. Like, I got over it real quick, man. Like, it's really nothing that I'm going to, like, tomorrow, that's all you're going to hear, even though they played so well. But it's going to be a huge conversation. And classic Toronto, it's like, let's talk about the backup goalie and let's talk about the fourth line when there's nothing else to talk about. Well, and it was a puzzling decision. And the reason why I find it puzzling is because what you said before and what we said a couple weeks back, like, you think Babcock would have been all in bringing a veteran guy in who could win faceoffs and potentially play under penalty kill and power play. But there is something that Mike has seen out of Spezza that he does not like, and it was apparent. And he apparently he's going to draw in on Friday. But I don't want to make this like some sign of disrespect. It's like Jason Spezza, like, it's the guy's an old, like, I don't care if he played for the Senators forever ago. Like, don't give me this former team stuff.
I know. That's the thing today where I was kind of like, okay, like, relax. Like, when I was like, it's against the Sens. It's emotional for Spezza. It's against the Sens. And it's like, it's been years since he's played for the Ottawa Senators. And I'm like you. When I saw that today, I was kind of like, oh, here he goes again, just banishing a guy to the press box, not giving a guy a chance, just whatever. But as the day went on and I was reading more and more, and from what I saw tonight, Nick Shore is somebody that he really likes on the penalty kill. And if that's the case, then Nick Shore is going to draw into the lineup more and more.
Well, I'm going to be flat out honest right now. I did not notice Nick Shore once tonight.
I only noticed him when he was out there on the PK.
I don't remember looking at the ice tonight and being like, there's Nick Shore out there. Like,
well,
I honestly
one of those
did
guys
not.
Where you're watching the game tonight and I'm like, who the hell is that?
Like, I think Jason Spezza could do a lot of good for this hockey team if he's put in the right position and he's willing to play that role that Babcock's talking about. Like, the guy can still put the puck in the net and make a pass and win faceoffs. And like, I get why people were a little like, because people are kind of tired of Freddie the GOAT. Like, I know he comes out, he works hard, he's a big body, but if
big
you've
goal
watched
tonight, Ryan.
I know, but if you've watched Freddie before, it's like he's a very like passable. Like, I can pass on Freddie the GOAT anytime. Like, there's a million Freddie the GOATs out there. So why not have a guy who has a reputation in this league, who's been very successful in this league, draw in the first night and give him a shot, because he can play so many different roles and on special teams and on the fourth line. He could even move up if he had to. So I get why people are kind of like, man, whatever. But I just hate how sometimes the city just, I know it's content. Like, we do a podcast, you're always looking for content to talk about. But I just, like, I'm not going to sit here and just like try to, like, I'm not going to lead off the show talking about Jason Spezza getting banished to the press box. It's like, hey, whatever. Like, that's the decision. Someone's going to play their way out of the lineup. And if Mike wanted to put him in the press box tonight, then so be it. Whatever.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you on that too. I as the day went on, you're kind of like this. We're talking about the fourth line here.
Yeah, like let's
everybody relax.
That's what we do here, man. We talk about the backup goalie in the fourth line. Welcome
Ryan,
to Toronto.
That is an excellent segue. Because coming up this Friday and Saturday, the Maple Leafs have their first back-to-back of the season. They are at Columbus on Friday night and then home against the Habs on Saturday. Ryan, if you are deploying the goalies, how are you doing it?
I don't know. Like, I know they're playing the Habs on Saturday night, but Mike's not really a guy who kind of buys into, I need to have my best goalie on hockey night in Canada. Like, I don't really see him sitting in his office thinking that. If he's going to play Freddie 2 nights in a row, he wants him to get on a roll and maybe get some some shots in, get a good
I don't think that's
feeling.
happening. I don't think that's
But,
happening.
like, that's my next point, though.
Yeah, there's been way too much talk in the organization this year about putting a pitch count on Freddie.
Yeah. Well, that's my next point. It's if you're really committed to, like, pitch count, it's a great way to describe it. But if you're really committed to a certain amount of games that Freddie has to play, then play Michael Hutchinson one of the games, Friday or Saturday. I don't care.
Well, can I tell you what I do?
He has to play. Like, it doesn't matter if it's game 2 or 3 or 58. Like, if this is your plan, you got to execute it, and you can't just throw your backup out the window if he gives up 4. Like, Mike's got to learn how to do that too.
Can I tell you what I would do? To your point that you just made about Hutchinson, he's got to get in there. He's got to play. So what I would do is, I didn't think Freddie had his best game tonight. I actually thought he looked pretty soft at times.
Yeah.
He looked kind of shaky tonight, and so sitting him on Friday is not going to help him. So I come back with Anderson on Friday night. Columbus is theoretically the tougher game, so I come right back with Freddie on Friday, and then Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada at home versus the Montreal Canadiens. Here you go, Hutch. You're in the game.
If you're not pumped up to play this game, then that's an issue. But your backup goalie's not going to steal you every game. Chris Johnson made the best point today on the Fan. He was like, you can't always expect your backup to steal a game for you. You might have to steal one. But if the Maple Leafs are as good of a hockey team and as big of an offensive juggernaut as we think they are, if Hutch gives up 3, they can get 4. Like, they're going to have to bail him out sometimes too. And he's not going to be perfect, but we can't just constantly be like looking for the perfect backup goalie. Like Curtis McElhaney, I know everyone loves him and Babs loves him, but like that guy scared the hell out of me every time he played too.
Yeah.
But like, you got to show some trust in your guy. And if you really want Anderson at a certain amount of games at the end of the year, you got to play this guy. And even if he struggles a game, you got to throw him in again and throw him in again. But
I think this year more than ever, I think they're going to do that this year more than ever, Ryan, because they really buy in. Babs and Dubas, one thing they do really agree on is like the sports science department. And there's been a lot of talk this offseason about putting a pitch count on Freddie in a game count on Freddie. So like I said, Hutch is going to play. And so I think what better first game of the season to get you into it and get you acclimated than Saturday night at home against the Montreal Canadiens, Hockey Night in Canada, and come back. Like I said, Freddie was a little rough tonight. Let's let him have a bounce back game. Come back on Friday against the Columbus Blue Jackets and sort of get on a roll. That's what I would do.
And I think Mike will always stick to the traditional, the starter plays the first night and the backup plays the second night. Mike's not going to give in to the Hockey Night in Canada hype. No. Habs Leafs. He's just.
But you know what? I would give into it for Hutchinson. Like, I would use that. I'd be like, Hutch, here you go, buddy. Here's a huge stage, and guess what? If you go out there and have a big game, everyone will be stoked. So here you go.
Yeah. So
I feel way better about Michael Hutchinson than I do about Garrett Sparks.
I agree, but it's like your backup goalie is always gonna scare you every time he's in there. There's only a few guys in the league who are really good, and even then, like you look at the guy who backed up Tampa Bay last year. He had 20 wins, but he still had like a 900 save percentage, which is below league average. Like It's all about, you got to back up your backup too. Like, the guy's got to get fired up when the backup's playing too. Like, that might be the best night you have to play is when your backup is playing.
Yep.
So they just got to throw him in. Like, I hate when the media gets all fussed about Leafs and Habs on Saturday. You got to start Anderson. It's like, no, coaches don't think like that, man. They don't.
Ryan, for the first time in months, we're bringing it back. We're back playing real games. The team is back for real. Who's a bum and who's a beauty?
Yes, sir. Hit the music.
It's time to find out who's a bum and who's a beauty. Take it away, buds.
First edition of the season, Bum and Beauty. Ryan, I am going to go first. My beauty of the night, and this is a bit of a, like, obviously, for those of our new listeners, it's like when Ryan and I do Bum and Beauty, there are obvious choices. Auston Matthews tonight is an obvious choice, but I don't want to use the obvious choice. I want to go with Tyson Barrie. I am a big Tyson Barrie fan. I love the way this guy skates. He's such an upgrade from Jake Gardiner. He's going to challenge Riley at some point this season to get on that first power play unit just because his puck moving and skating is so elite. I love the guy. He's a huge upgrade, like I said, and it's a really nice return for Nazem Kadri. Excuse me. Your beauty of the night.
Yeah, my beauty of the night is everybody's favorite bottom six player, Trevor Moore.
Oh yeah.
And you kind of turned my mind. I had a couple guys in mind, but as soon as you like compared him to Connor Brown earlier in the episode, and how many times Connor Brown was the bum of the week last year for all you new listeners, because he was right up there. So,
oh yeah, him and Zaitsev were in contention.
That's a perfect comparison because they play in the exact same place in the lineup, and just the difference that one guy could make in the bottom six and what he brings shift to shift is just totally refreshing. I joke that everyone's going to love him, but I'm on the bandwagon too. I love the guy. I love watching him play. Small little guy, but he's out there just working every shift, and it's a joy to watch. I love the guy, and he wears 42 like a champ.
Yep. Okay, my bum of the night is a bit of a 2-pack. It's like a 1 3/4 pack. So the one is the other guy who challenged for undisputed bum of the year last year, Marty Marinson. Absolute liability every time he's out there.
Really?
That's all I
didn't
have to
think
say.
he was that bad tonight, man.
Oh, God, Ryan. There were a few plays in the first and second period where it's just like, really, Mike? This guy again?
I don't mind. I actually didn't think he was that bad. I gotta stand up for Marty a bit. I thought he looked okay.
And the other kind of like, not full bum, but like half is Alexander Kerfoot. Just because he looks like he's having a difficult time sort of acclimating. He ain't no Nazem Kadri. That's for sure. Like, he does not bring the type of like intensity that Kadri brought.
No.
But like I just said earlier about, if the return for Kadri is Tyson Barrie, I'm really stoked on that. But I think Kerfoot, I think he's a good player. I think he's got some skill. I like some of the stuff that I've seen from him, but I think it's going to take him a few games to really get like comfortable in Babcock's system, and I wasn't that super impressed with him in the preseason. And then again tonight, he just kind of looks like he looks uncomfortable. That's the best way I can put it. He doesn't look like he looks like he's out there thinking too much about, like, in this system I'm supposed to stand here, I'm supposed to be here doing this, is where Mike wants me. That's at least what I'm observing. So it's a 2-pack for me tonight.
I'm gonna cop out a little bit and not pick a Toronto Maple Leaf because it's a little too early for me, and I don't feel comfortable picking a bum yet. I'm sure one guy will start standing out above the others as the season goes on. I'm going to go with the NHL officiating and the officiating tonight. Even though a lot of it went in the Leafs' favor, some of those calls, man, like, what is this, the National Football League? Like, horrible calls. Awful. Yeah. Awful. I think Kerfoot got one in front of the net for slashing.
Yeah.
Like, or for cross-checking a guy, and then there was another one, a slash on Borowiecki. I forget which one that was, and then Connor Brown got a goaltender interference against Anderson. Like, what are they doing? Like,
what are they doing?
Come on. It's not the National Football League. Like, put the whistles away for a bit. It's the first game of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, chill.
And with that, there's your first Bum and Beauty. We'll be doing that every week until the season is over. Ryan, before we go, I already talked about how they play the Blue Jackets on Friday and then the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday, and then the Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues come to Scotiabank Arena on Monday night. So that's 3 tough games.
Yeah,
man.
it's a big one.
Yeah, that's 3 tough games. So, like,
the Jackets aren't as good as they were because minus the goaltender and minus Panarin, but they're still a tough team who can play hard. And the Habs aren't going to not show up. They're going to show up.
You know who they're playing after that? Thursday night, a week Thursday, the Tampa Bay Lightning are at Scotiabank Arena.
Good. Yeah. I like it. I bring them early.
Same.
Why not? Bring them early. Bring
agree.
the best you got early, because tonight is not the greatest measuring stick hockey game. Like, let's get a couple early measuring stick games. You got the Cup champs and you got the President's Trophy winners who own your division.
Yep.
So let's go. Let's see it.
All right, I think that'll do it for this week, Rye. We'll be back next week at some point, as per usual. Don't necessarily have a date locked down, but we like to get them done. Or Wednesday's the latest of the week that we like to do the shows, to give people a couple of days to listen to it before the Saturday night game.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for downloading this week's episode, everybody. We will see you next time.